The 2025 Sunbet ZX10 Masters Cup is proudly brought to you by Sunbet, Bridgestone, the tyre of choice, VAG Automotive Centre Centurion, and EBC Brakes.
Sunday dawned and it's time for round 6, race 1 action at the Festival of Motorsport and of Motoring. And the motorsport aspect, of course, comes from Sunbet ZX10 Masters Cup as we get into race 1 of round 6. A little bit of help from above being sought out there, as always. And hopefully all the riders will end up at the end of the day with no injuries and no broken motorcycles. That's what we're looking for here at round 6. A couple of guys chilling out a bit more than others. Galgocci's starting to get himself into a little bit of a zone there, as you can see. A little bit of work to be done on a couple of bikes, particularly that man, JLR's bike, after the crash yesterday. And you can see Steve Cannon jumping in to help out as well, just showing the camaraderie amongst the riders and how they work together to ensure that Sunbet ZX10 Masters Cup has a full grid of riders back on track and ready to go. See some work being done on a couple of other bikes that had some issues yesterday in the final race of round number 5. The big man, I like to see that, Juggernaut style scrabby eggs. Yep, that's going to work out well, I'm sure, at some point in time. And I'll definitely take mine with a bit of crispy fried bacon there, please, as we get some cleaning done on those EBC brakes. I see a couple of guys making a couple of adjustments to their motorcycles as well. Some new Bridgestone rubber being thrown on as well for a couple of the riders looking to impress today. And impressive stuff is what we had yesterday in round 5. It's Sunbet, sun's out, guns out there. And almost time to get on track for the first part of the day's proceedings. And that will be, of course, race number 1 today. Can see there's going to be a little bit of anticipation on the side of the track from the big crowd that are here today. And yes, Brian, that's about a 46 tooth, I'd say. Maybe go one up, Just get a little bit of extra power down the straightaways. Oof, is that Superman, Batman, or was that Entercott? Entercott in his Dainese undersuit. Good to see AJ back in the house. After some international duties, he got back in time for Sunday. So Alan John Fenter, our road racing extraordinaire from the Isle of Man TT, and of course a man who normally is one of the pilots in the ZX10 Masters Cup, is back again. Refueling is important, making sure you've got just the amount of fuel that you need, not too much to weight the bike. Oh, a couple of guys maybe ran out of fuel. We're going to shoot quickly to the closest fuel station to get that all-important fuel to get in the bikes. And then, yes, visibility. Crucial factor. Make sure those visors are clean so we can go racing. And we're about to do that as they all start to kit up and get ready for race number 1 of round 6. Get that visor down. I'm not quite sure if that's Sifiso Temba or is that maybe Master Chief. It could be, hey? You never know. But as they roll up and roll out, of course, it's now time to sort of get those race faces on and ensure that they're good to go for this first race of the day. It's an incredible field of just over 26 riders making their way back out again with lots of support from our Sunbet ladies. And great to have them here with the headline sponsor, along with Bridgestone, our tyre sponsor, VAG Automotive, and EBC. Clint Seller and Damien Purificati with Graham Van Bera on the front row. They'll be ahead of Dave Entercott, Adrian Van Dalen, and Keith Agliotti. Look out for Hein McMahon pushing through. He'll be looking to try and bring James Boston along for the ride. And then Bontekoning, he'll be starting in the single digits there, as you can see, just ahead of De Vos. Then you got Reggie Seal and Dieter Hazeman. Watch out for Sifiso Temba. He's got some lightning starts. We saw that yesterday. Renatus Vinicic, Tyron Piper, Henk Kruger, Johan Leroux will be starting a bit further back. That was after the crash yesterday, just ahead of Jacques Cruz. Then as we get to the back of the pack, Byron Rothwell, Steve Galgocci, Raymond Kiel, Nico Zietzman, and watch out for Majola. Scaling. And yes, today, Timo Green is in the house after some short circuit duties yesterday. We got a green flag and we're about to go racing. Down towards turn 1 we go. Looks like Sella might have got the whole shot as per usual as he heads towards Crowthorne. Yes, he's got it. Right on his tail is Damien Purificati. Purificati got within about 6 or 7 seconds of the King Price Kawasaki yesterday. So we'll be looking to do more of the same here now in the first heat of race action. A couple of riders running a little bit wide and high out of Crowthorne corner. Not quite getting the start they wanted. There are a couple of riders who drop back further back than what they'd like. I'm going to tell you that right now as they head up through Yuxka and Barbecue. Let's have a look from Sifiso Temba's point of view as we head down towards Crowthorne. On board with the IM63 Wakahinya and Mzansi Motorsport Kawasaki. Look at that. Side by side with the big man, Dieter Hazeman on that East Rand Bike and Boat and Adventure Extreme. Kawasaki goes literally bar to bar with Sifiso. And Sifiso getting right up there, up and close with personally the number 2 bike. That is an incredible run there. Sneaking up on Mark Newland, who also had some issues in the closing stages of yesterday's final heat. So it looks like Newland's got his bike sorted out, but certainly some incredible pace being found here. As I said, lightning fast off the grid is Sifiso Temba. And now looking to try and stay ahead of a couple of riders. He managed to find his way through there. And as they go through Sunset, he's made his way up just outside of that top 10. 2 packs have started to form. There's a front leading pack. They're getting away. 1, 2, and 3 are literally all on their own. Battle for third place, though, could heat up a little bit because you can see there's a couple of guys that have joined that third place battle. We'll watch them now as they come through the S's for the first time. This is Clincella leading things out over Purificati. Purificati's got Van Dalen on his tail. Another good start there from Adrian Van Dalen on the VAG Automotive Kawasaki. He's ahead of that Stefanudi Stocks and Motul Kawasaki of Graham Van Beraar. Newland makes up the back of the pack. Sifiso heads the second pack of riders as they come through the S's for the first time. And then you can see the rest of them just peeling through there. Left, right as they come through the S's. Great to see the slow-mo shot of this awesome field of 26 riders. It's a really, really awesome pack of riders going to battle here. And now as they head to the top of the hill for the first time, it's up towards Leerkop. It is going to be Sella who leads them to the top of the hill. Van Dalen hangs on for third. Big move from Enticott, starting to put the pressure now onto the back end of Graham Van Beraar as they make their way down the mine shaft for the first time and into Crocodiles. Now when they come into Crocodiles, remember it's a massive amount of tarmac they've got to play with there. So you'll see a couple of guys maybe chancing a few opportunities to sneak through on the riders they're chasing down. Van Beraar will definitely be looking for that opportunity to get it done early on. But can he do that? As we watch Sella coming out of Crocodiles and heading towards Ingwe and Cheetah, the final 2 corners here at Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit. And as he comes in there, he's going to complete lap number 1 at the front end of this field and ensure that he's on his way for a possibility of 3 out of 3. That's what he's looking for. The second pack, you can see, coming down now into that final corner at Ingwe. In fact, there's basically 3 packs of motorcycles that are going to be fighting out there. You've got the first 2 riders getting away, then the fight for third, then the fight for about 9th place on track, and then another fight for just outside of those single digits as we wrap up that first lap. Down towards Crowthorne they go. Van Dalen hangs on ahead of Enticott. Ooh, very close there between Bontekoning and Hein McMahon. McMahon just avoiding the back end of Bontekoning as they came through there. Bonte literally just cutting the nose off the canine enforcement machine there of Hein McMahon. So Slucky had to just sit the bike up there. Otherwise he would have ridden straight into the back of Brian Bontekoning. Bontekoning is pushing hard. He's certainly looking for a chance to get at least up into the top 5 overall and secure himself some more valuable points in the Class C battle. Remember, he is fighting hard with JLR for Class C honours. But joining this weekend, as we saw, Peter DeFos is in the house and so is Jacques Cruz. So any one of those riders could potentially spoil the day there if it goes wrong, as we saw yesterday. Big high side and a crash for Bontekoning and a crash for JLR as well. So it's opened up that championship a little bit wider than what they expected to have here on Sunday at the Festival of Motoring. Celestil sets the pace out front and continues to lead out there over Damien Purificati. Right on their tail is the battle for third place. It's heating up big time. Then just behind that, so that third pack of riders now getting up close and personal with each other, which is really good to see actually. Fantastic to see these 2 getting away. It's kind of what we expected with the 2 of them. But here you can see this is the fight for third. And Van Dalen keeps out Enticott. Enticott has got a little bit of breathing room now over Van Beraar. But Van Beraar closes that gap down almost instantaneously as they come to the bottom end of the mine shaft. So I think Van Dalen's going to have to be very wary because Enticott and Van Beraar are starting to breathe down his neck and putting a little bit more pressure onto that VAG Automotive Kawasaki at this point in time. So he's going to be in with a bit of a fight here into the second half of this race. We're about to get to that second half of the race as we get down here to complete another lap in anger. As you can see, all the riders now starting to get in. Problems here for LaRue. Oh, JLR with another issue here on the day. That's going to give a little bit of an advantage to Brian Bontekoning to try and capitalize here as he pulls into pit lane. That means he's going to be losing out big time in terms of championship points available here today with electrical issues there on that motorcycle. Doesn't look like he's going to be able to finish this one up, and that's a big pity there for who I like to call MC Hammer as he walks around the pit lane with those MC Hammer style pants. The gold man out front is the King Price Kawasaki, Lippy Marley sponsored of course and PS branded, but nice to see that livery on this motorcycle. Literally beckoning what was going to be the gold championship that he's looking for. It's not quite there yet, he's still got a bit of work to do, but he's certainly gone all out to make sure that it's something special for Kyalami. And there's a couple of guys who've changed their livery up for Kyalami. Barson is at the front, he's changed his luck a little bit there, as the Steel Monkey Kawasaki gets to the front end of this little fight, and now start to pull away ever so slightly. So looks like James Barson was held up ever so slightly there for a little while, but now he's at the front, he's going to try and push away. Here comes the second pack. It's the third pack on the road, but of course the one that we're just watching along the main straightaway now is the second pack there. There's the leader, that's second place Purificati in towards Clubhouse. See a little bit of a breeze that's picked up there slightly, the palm trees blowing just across the circuit. Won't affect the riders that much. Here is the first pack. That of course is the battle for third place. Van Bredal wants it, but he's going to have to work hard for it. He hasn't got it quite yet. There's still a bit of work to do there for Graham Van Bredal. He's got to find a way through on Entigod. He's got to find a way through there on Van Dalen. Top two clearing out. Here comes the third place fight into the S's. That's how close it is. All three riders in the same shot and not too far behind them. Could be joining them pretty shortly with the likes of Brian Bontekoning. So we'll keep an eye on his progress as we get into the latter part of this one. Barson now leading things out as they come up to the top of the hill. See Reggie Seal in there as well. Seal pushing hard. And he's now starting to fight it out there amongst some of the other competitors involved in that little fight. It's great to see once again just how impressive the riding skill has come from these riders. Luby's having a fantastic one. Luby's having a super run here, and Lubitsala and Sana certainly getting to grips with his motorcycle much better than he did yesterday. Much better pace out of that man as well as we watch our leader coming down. Look at the gap that's now opened up between first and second place. So it looks like there's no answer here from Damien Purificati. He realized, Purificati running wide. He made a small mistake there going into the final turn, but hopefully he'll get back up on track and riding again, because that could be a costly exercise there for Damien Purificati if that was the case. Maybe just catching himself out there with a little lack of concentration. But needless to say, I think he's been able to get back on track, and I don't think he would have lost too much ground because he was quite a long way up the road from the rest of the riders. Van Dalen now pushing hard. This is good to see. Oh, the second pack is going to be closing. And it's, of course, on their tail. Bontekoning has got, was that the number 4 bike? Yes, it was. Han McMahon on his tail. There's some issues for Reggie. Oh, Reggie also. I think there might be a little bit of an overheating problem there for that Kawasaki. It is a little bit hotter than what it was yesterday. You can see Reggie just nursing that Kawasaki home, wants to try and get it back into pit lane if he can. That's the plan. As the rest of the pack go through, they'll be watching Reggie Seal peel into the pit lane, which is on the top end of the circuit, of course, because that's where we pitted for the weekend at the Festival of Motoring. Over 30,000 people coming through the gates at Kyalami for this year's Festival of Motoring. So it's a record crowd, and it's one of the reasons why Sunbet ZX10 Masters Cup wanted to be so much involved and provide action on both of the main days, the Saturday and the Sunday. We had some practices, of course, and some qualifying that took place on the Thursday and Friday. But the most important factor was to be here on Saturday and Sunday with these big crowds and entertain them, just like ZX10R Cup can do. Enticott, great to have him back from Cape Town. And of course, when we get to Cape Town at the next round, his good friend Trevor Westman will be joining him and being part and parcel of this race event again after a couple of months off, after that big crash that he had at his home circuit only a couple of months ago. So it'll be great to have the Killer Westman back in the field again. It's great to have that man back in the field too. Haven't mentioned him much in this race, but we did mention him, of course, in race 1 and 2 of round 5, and that's the Silver Dream Racer of the Jongon Josie machine, and that, of course, being piloted there by Peter de Vos. Yes, it does look very Ducati-esque, but Dieter Hazeman, I should say, loves his machine, that East Rand Bike and Boat and Adventure Extreme bike, looking really good and resplendent in those old school style Ducati colors. New colors, as we said there, for the King Price Kawasaki, but the same old duties and the same old job being done with a lap to go. It's going to be no one to catch this man. And look at the crowd. Nice to see that. Even on the main straightaway. Yes, it's a smaller crowd than what you'd normally have at a big race day. But they, of course, are all here to watch these guys go at it and then watch the hot laps that come out from the four-wheel drive and the four-wheel cars that are on circuit. Supercars, some race cars out here this weekend, a couple of road cars and some 4x4s, and lots of entertainment provided at the Festival of Motoring, which included two-wheeled action coming from our ZX10 Masters Cup. Sunbet must be exceptionally happy. Remember, they're also running a very good special at the moment on the Sunbet app and also on their Sunbet website, where you can win yourself a GTI just by playing some of the slots. So do yourselves a favor, maybe go and have a look at that and log on. I think it costs you about £3 for the bet, and can imagine spending £3 and getting yourself a new Golf GTI 8. That will be pretty awesome stuff. They're not worried about that now at the moment. These guys are still going at it. And yes, James Barson's still leading that little pack of riders, heading into the last lap of the race. And look at that. That is a massive margin that Kinsella has got waiting for Pierre Vicardi. He's on his way. There he comes. Eventually out of Sunset into Clubhouse, but that is a huge margin that Kinsella's opened up. And he's definitely going to look for 3 out of 3 here for this weekend. So well done to the King Prize Kawasaki and the man who would be king. He's not there yet. There's still a couple of mathematical chances for everybody else to maybe catch him. And we'll have to wait and see a little bit later on in the season before we can actually officially crown him the champion for 2025. So we're on the last lap. That is the king of Kawasaki ZX10 Masters Cup. And he slowed up ever so slightly, which has allowed Damien Purificati to just bridge that gap a little bit. But I don't think there's going to be any reason for him not to take this victory and make it 3 out of 3. We'll wait and see as they come down towards the line. Some rear-facing shots here of a couple of riders flying through there. And, of course, the triple one is Timo Green. We didn't see much of him yesterday, but it is good to have him back in this pack of riders. Had to start from the back of the pack, having not qualified, and had to go and do some short-circuit duties, as we saw. But everybody else now into their closing stages here. Agliotti with a much better run, this time staying upright and not going down like we saw yesterday as he got to the top of the hill there at Leeuwkop. So he's managed to stay upright. So has Hein McMahon. And Bonte Koning also upright, looking for a victory here for Class C. That's going to be huge here for Bonte. If he can get this Class C victory, just brings him back into contention after that little bit of issues he had on his motorcycle in qualifying and race 1 of round 5. Up to the top of Leeuwkop they come. Just peeling through here for the last time. In the background you can see some of the action happening on the 4-wheel drive course. Getting an opportunity to test out some of the new wears and tears of various manufacturers and OEMs here this weekend. Not only on the track but on the off-road circuit as well, which of course the Kyalami Racetrack goes flying past at some point in time. All these guys wouldn't have had a chance to have a look at the 4-wheel drives just yet, but maybe they'll get a chance later on to go and experience it once they finished racing. The racing is not done here yet though. These 4 are still going to go right to the line to try and wrap up what has been a spectacular fight there further back in the pack. So as they come through the S's for the last time, we'll be standing by to pick up on Kinsella on his way to the checkered flag. But good to see the likes of, there's Byron Rothwell. Haven't seen much of him as well. Also looking like he's changed up his livery for this weekend. Raymond Kill, didn't see a lot of him in this race either, but good to have the man back in it again. One of our stalwarts of this class. He was one of the originators that jumped on a Kawasaki when it was originally put together, this category. Kawasaki, of course, South Africa was still the main sponsors at that point in time. The long-standing relationship with Bridgestone has stood the test of time and been the tyre provider, or as Sean puts it at the beginning of the show, the tyre of choice. And they seem to work well, and they certainly work very well here at Kyalami. Not a hard-wearing surface. That's the one cool thing about coming to this track. You can get a lot of wear and tear out of those Bridgestones. But the most important thing is to find that checkered flag, and that's exactly what Sell has done as he comes through to take and steal 3 out of 3 so far for this weekend at the Festival of Motoring for the ZX10 Masters Cup. Nice run from Purificati as well. He'll still finish up in second place. And as they come to the line, it is Van Dalen who wins out. And I think Anticott just snuck through there as well to beat out Graham Van Breda to the line to wrap up what has been a spectacular start to the day. And that is round 6, race 1, done and dusted. Let's see what happens now as they head down into Park for May. And we'll try and pick up on some of the action. There you go. Stella having a look across going, how did it go? Everybody else have a good one? Didn't see much of you boys, but we're looking forward to seeing you maybe in this fourth and final race of the weekend. Newland Jr. on the bike as well. So one of the great things about coming to Festival of Motoring is you come back into pit lane, lots of crowd support, watching the riders come into Park for May. But let's leave you with the sights and sounds of Park for May before we give you the overall results. And just have a look and see how these guys explain to each other exactly what happened out on track. Yeah, even a little chuckle there from AJ Venter. He knows exactly what it's all about. Thanks, Galgachi. Looks like you had a good one, buddy.
It's only race one, though.
I don't think anybody had a bad one out there today, other than maybe JLR, who had to retire his bike, and Reggie Seal. But we'll catch up with the two of them and find out a bit later on in this little part of the race day's proceedings. Final bit of chat there between the brothers. They can find a little bit extra pace maybe into the final heat of the day. Let's have a look at how things wrapped up there. It's Sella Purificati and yes, Entercott snuck through, beating Van Dalen. Then it was Keith Agliotti who actually got ahead of Graham Van Breda as well. So Class A right the way down to 5th place. Class B being taken by Graham Van Breda. Newland in 2nd right behind him. Hein McMahon was there in 8th place, beating out Bontekoning, who took Class C honours. And then Kruger in the top 10. Good ride from him. 11th place, we saw James Barson. And then in 12th, it's Peter de Vos for 2nd in Class C's. We go down to, is that Raymond Kill? Yes, it was. Raymond Kill sneaking through there. Nice to see that as well, getting up into a podium position for Class C here in race number 1 of round 6. As we wrap things up for this first race of the second day of the Festival of Motoring. And some incredible action once again. Further down, Jacques Cruz, as you saw, had a bit of issues in the closing stages. He dropped down to Henk Scaling, fighting out there with Majola. And then Timo at the back. Unfortunately, as we saw, Reggie Seal having to retire that bike. Johan Leroux had some problems as well. And Nico Zitzman will be looking to come back with a bit of a vengeance. Time to get the bikes back in the pit boxes and get them looked at. Maybe a few changes and some tweaks to be done to the motorbikes. I don't think there's much to change on his bike. You can see just how happy Sifiso Temba is as the IM63 man makes his way back to his pit box. And as we see the riders making their way back into their allotted areas, it gives us a chance also to go and maybe catch up with a couple of them and see exactly what went wrong. Particularly on Reggie Seal's bike, because I'm interested to find out, because he was going so well. Maybe Daniela can go down and pick up on exactly what went down there with Reggie Seal.
Round 6 of the Sunbet ZX10 Masters, the Festival of Motoring, our last day of riding. Reg, your first race today, you were doing very well in the beginning and then you just vanished. What happened, Reg?
Yeah, true story. Bertha, she was so affectionately known as, felt a little bit hot. So flashing high, I thought, let me rather save her for race 2 and had to pull in.
Okay, so you are back in action for race 2.
Yes, we'll definitely be there. Hope for a bit of a better start. So the old girl, unfortunately, lacks a bit of power. So I've got a slipstream, everybody. And as a result, not much airflow and she doesn't like it. So better start, keep out front, rather block than have to attack.
Okay, and then tell us who are you attacking? Who's in front of you?
Look, I think today probably it's going to be Dieter and Henk in class. But yeah, there's 5-6 riders all within half a second of each other.
Yeah, it is really tight. Guys, make sure you guys come out today to watch the last race at 2:30, right?
5 to 3.
5 to 2.
5 to 2. 5 to 2.
Come out, watch the last race, and best of luck, Reg.
Cool, thank you.
The 2025 Sunbet ZX10 Masters Cup is proudly brought to you by Sunbet, Bridgestone, the tyre of choice, VAG Automotive Centre Centurion, and EBC Brakes.